Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the hidden root of our mental blocks and uncovering your innate value. Look, if you've ever felt completely stuck, like you're driving 100 miles an hour but your parking brake is firmly pulled up, despite doing literally everything right, like setting the goals, grinding it out, reading all the self-help books, well, the material we're diving into today is going to offer a massive paradigm shift.
Okay, so get this. 90%. When researchers really started digging into our hidden mental blocks, those sneaky, subconscious beliefs that just totally sabotage our goals, they made a completely shocking discovery. Over 90% of our self-sabotaging behaviors, our deep frustrations, and those invisible walls we keep hitting, they all stem from one single solitary issue. It's not a lack of time, it's for sure not a lack of resources, it's something way, way deeper.
All right, let's dive into this. That single issue? It's a lack of self-worth. Turns out, a hidden, subconscious feeling of unworthiness acts as this massive, invisible brake on our entire lives. Think about it. When a genuine desire forms in your heart, the universe naturally wants to respond, right? But if you subconsciously believe deep down that you don't actually deserve that good thing, you instinctively just slam on the brakes. You literally block the result. This lack of self-worth is basically the mother of thousands of other destructive, limiting beliefs.
So how do you even know if you're driving around with this worthiness brake engaged? Well, does any of this sound familiar? Maybe your efforts at work completely go unnoticed, or you're just not getting the respect you deserve in your relationships. Or maybe you feel this deep, heavy guilt whenever you prioritize your own needs. Like, seriously, taking a nap feels on par with robbing a bank. You're constantly comparing your messy behind the scenes to everyone else's perfectly curated highlight reel, and you literally need external validation just to feel okay for a single day. Listen, if you're nodding along right now, you are definitely not alone. This is exactly how a lack of self-worth shows up as constant, unnecessary friction in our day-to-day lives.
Now, to really fix this, we have to make a critical distinction between self-esteem and self-worth. We throw these words around like they mean the exact same thing, but they are incredibly different. Self-esteem is entirely conditional. It's built on your achievements, your skills, the praise you get. You do a good job, boom, your self-esteem goes up. But self-worth, that is innate, it's stable, and it's totally unconditional. Basically, self-esteem is all about doing, while self-worth is simply about being.
Let's lock in on a really clear definition here to wrap our heads around it. Self-worth is this deep, unshakable frequency. It's an inner belief that you deserve the absolute best life has to offer simply because you exist as a human being. Period. End of story. It is 100% independent of your resume, your bank account, your looks, or your daily results. Because think about it, when you tie your core value to external things like follower counts or a boss's praise, you're building your entire life on a totally unstable foundation. One bad day or one piece of criticism, and the whole thing comes crashing down.
There's this incredibly profound quote from the source material that hits the nail on the head. You are worthy just because you are a human being in this physical world. I really, really want you to let that sink in for a second. You don't have to earn your right to breathe, right? So in the exact same way, you do not have to earn your basic worthiness. We spend so much of our lives playing this exhausting, completely backwards game, desperately trying to prove our value to the outside world, when our true value was actually set in stone the very second we were born.
And man, this leads us directly into what's called the achievement trap. We try so hard to build our self-esteem brick by brick. We get the fancy degree, we chase the promotion, we buy the nice car, and we think, okay, now I'm valuable. But because all those things are completely outside of our actual control, the second we stumble, like maybe you lose a big client or get passed over for that raise, that entire fragile tower of self-worth just collapses. It's a trap because we are literally letting the unpredictable external world dictate our own internal value.
So obviously, this begs a massive question. If your worth isn't something you can build by achieving things, by constantly hustling and proving yourself, where does it actually come from? Like, how do we get it if we can't build it?
To answer that, the source material gives us this absolutely beautiful concept, the metaphor of the statue of worthiness. I love this. Imagine that your self-worth is not some empty building you have to construct from the ground up. Instead, it is a magnificent, totally flawless statue that is already completely intact, just hidden inside a rough block of stone. Your worth isn't something you create. It's a masterpiece that is already living inside of you.
So revealing that masterpiece isn't about adding more and more stuff to yourself, it's actually about taking things away. First, you just acknowledge that this innate, beautiful statue of worth actually exists inside you right now. Second, you start identifying all the heavy, limiting beliefs that society has layered on top of it, like the toxic idea that you're only valuable if you're constantly productive. Third, you gently chisel away those false conditions. You just chip them right off. And finally, you simply radiate your pure, original worthiness. You're just knocking off the excess stone to reveal what was always there.
I mean, how great is this phrasing? You don't build self-worth, you simply dust it off. Just think about how incredibly liberating that is. You don't need another certification. You don't need to lose 10 pounds. You absolutely do not need to make $1 million before you're allowed to finally feel worthy. That value has been there since your very first breath. Literally, all you have to do is dust off the societal conditioning that tricked you into thinking otherwise.
Now, you might be wondering, why does this internal mental shift matter so much to your actual physical life? Well, it all comes down to what the source calls the mathematics of reality. It turns out the universe operates on this incredibly precise, almost mathematical relationship between your inner feelings of worth and your external events. The dominant frequency that you broadcast to the world, how you truly view yourself deep down, is exactly what reality is forced to respond to.
This math is wild, and it's incredibly precise. If your inner frequency is broadcasting, "I must earn my value," then the external reality is gonna reflect that. Life becomes hard, your efforts get ignored because you're literally putting out the signal that you aren't enough yet. If your inner frequency is, "I desperately need external praise," your reality becomes filled with constant anxiety and comparison. But shift that inner cause to, "I am inherently worthy," and the external effect is profound. Opportunities just start flowing effortlessly, and you naturally command respect from everyone around you. Your external life is a direct, calculated reflection of the exact frequency you broadcast.
So the crucial takeaway here is that by tuning into this inherent worth, you unlock what we can call the frequency of ease. When you truly, deeply believe you are worthy just for existing, things change. Ideas start flowing to you effortlessly. Your relationships totally transform and become filled with mutual respect, simply because you no longer tolerate anything less. Your unique skills are naturally recognized and, financially rewarded by the marketplace. And all those unnecessary hardships and frictions you used to constantly battle, they literally just dissolve. Radiating a pure frequency of self-worth actually alters the friction of reality. You become an absolute match for abundance.
The source material uses a fantastic phrase for this exact state, being easy for ease. I love that. Easy for ease. When you have a deep, unconditional sense of your own self-worth, you finally drop all that subconscious resistance you've been carrying around. You stop putting up these invisible shields against compliments, against wealth, against love. You become incredibly receptive. You make it so easy for good things to find you because you genuinely know that you belong with those good things. To summarize this whole paradigm shift, just think about how we use our energy every day. Most of us spend a whopping 80% of our precious energy trying to control the external world, right? We're manipulating outcomes, hustling, forcing things to happen. It is so exhausting and honestly highly ineffective. The absolute highest return on investment you could ever make is flipping that script. Spend your energy cultivating your internal belief in your own innate value instead. Because when you fix the inside, the outside fixes itself. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. Really think about all the energy you spend every single day just desperately trying to prove to the world that you are good enough. What could you achieve? What kind of incredible life could you experience if you took all of that exhausted energy, stopped trying to prove your worth, and simply started chiseling away the false beliefs to uncover the masterpiece that is already there? Your worth is innate. It is time to dust it off. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I seriously challenge you to start uncovering your own inherent value today.